Hi and welcome to episode 7 of Country Bumpkin Creates. My name is Lucy. You can find me on Ravelry as Country Bumps or Instagram as country_bumps. Welcome to any new viewers. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoy this video today. And a big thank you to any returning viewers and those new subscribers who subscribed over the Christmas holiday period, because there were a few of you, which is lovely. If you do like this video, then please feel free to give it a thumbs up down below, because that helps me get out to other knitters, woolly type people. If you don't like it, don't give a thumbs down, just move along. There are plenty of other podcasts for you to enjoy out there. I totally understand that I'm not for everyone, so that's absolutely fine. And if you do like it, then also hit the subscribe button and click on the little bell next to it, and that will inform you every time I upload a new episode. And I am going to try and get better at more regular episodes. I've been meaning to record for the last 2 weeks, but just after New Year I got that horrible flu cold bug thing that was going around, so that was a week that was lost just laying around on the sofa. I was actually too ill to knit for 2 days, so that's when you know that you're proper poorly, when you haven't even got the energy to pick up knitting needles. And then I was going to record last week, but my dad was poorly, ended up in hospital for 24 hours with a bad UTI, so that was last week, and last weekend gone. And then this week was back to work. I've been back to work for a couple of weeks, but this week was working, and then I went to visit Dad yesterday. So today is the first day that I've had time to sit down, write show notes, get myself sorted out, and actually record a podcast. So I hope you all had a lovely Christmas, and Happy New Year to you all. It seems a bit strange saying it now on the 19th of January, but oh yeah, it is Friday 19th of January. It's a weird old weather day today, so the lighting might be a bit strange. I do have an artificial light here that is on, but at the moment the sun is out and we do have blue sky. But I've got 2 windows in front of me. That one there I've got blue sky, that one there I've got grey sky. So it may go dark again in a minute. We've had hail, rain, sleet, sunshine. Not quite sure what else there is to have today. It's quite chilly. I live on the outskirts of Dartmoor, and I do live in a wooden house, so if it does rain it may get a bit noisy, so I apologise for that. Or hail, it does get noisy. If I think it's too noisy, then I'll just stop for a bit until it passes. It's only showers at the moment, so anyway, enough of the wonderful British weather. I hope those of you who are overseas, especially in the States, aren't too cold at the moment, because I know it has been unseasonably cold over there. So I hope you're all staying warm and safe. Anyway, let's get on for what we're here for, shall we? Today we'll start with what am I wearing. Today I am wearing my Land of Sweets cowl. Let me take it off for a minute. This is where my hair goes everywhere. So this was part of Knit Vent this year, which is a series of patterns by Helen Stewart, who is Curious Handmade. And she designed this with the words, Lucy, words. With the Advent kit that was from Nora George Yarns, which I did treat myself to last year for Christmas, this Christmas just gone. So every day the pattern was written so that you knit a bit every day with the 24 colours that you got in your Advent calendar. So this was the start. So we went through all of these colours. Don't look too closely at some of the lace, because a lace litter I am not. It's a bit dodgy in some places. So you had the, so obviously started with a rib, and then there was a plain section, and then you had this like knit and purl texture. I think that's that's a plain. Then you had like some lace, and then you went back to plain, knit and purl, plain, more lace, and then finished it off at the bottom with another rib section. And this was like, I'm going to put it back on because it's cold, but this was like a little bit of therapy every morning. I know that sounds a bit strange. I'm just going to put it back on because my neck's cold. So every morning I would get up, open that day's advent yarn, wind it up, and then knit. I think it was only like 7 or 8 rows a day. And I'm lucky that the days I work, well, on the Monday I start at 9 o'clock, but the 2 other days I start at 11, so I could get up. And it was like a nice sedate way to start the day. It was just open the yarn, wind it, and then sit and knit for it would take about an hour, I suppose, just under, to do each section. And I sat and knit, and it was just lovely, just a lovely, really nice, slow, relaxing way to start the day. Get a cup of tea, sit down. Yeah, it was lovely. So, and then once the advent calendar finished, that was it. Some mornings I do sit and knit for an hour or so before I get going. I don't really do mornings very well, so it takes me a little while to welcome the world of a morning. Yeah, so it was, I need to get back into knitting, but there is something in works in progress that I think is going to take over from knitting this every morning once I get my bum into gear and get sorted with it. So this is a finished object, so we'll move into other finished objects because it's been a few weeks since I've seen you, so to speak. I do have quite a few FOs. So first one is I finished my Jodie Shawl, and it is a mahoosive. So it starts at this corner and it goes all the way. It is really long. When I blocked it, it like filled half my living room floor. So the colours, it's a DK weight shawl. Oh, it smells. I bought some when we went to Nottingham Yarn Expo. My soak wash was running out, so I bought some a pineapple one from Nora George Yarns. Oh my god, and it smells amazing. So I just go around sniffing my knitwear now. So this first colour is Call Me Baby by a company called Dusty Dimples. And it is a sparkle. You can see the sparkle in it. It's like a really muted pale pink tonal. And then that went into a yarn by Skein Queen. It didn't have a colourway name, unfortunately, but it's like a bright pink with speckles of colour in it. And then the bottom one is again a stellina. It's not quite that bright as it's showing on the camera. This is Berry Crush by Homespun Wonders. And again, oh look, you can see the sparkle in it there. The Skein Queen wasn't a sparkle, but the other two were. So, and it's just like a really warm, I'm going to be like wrapped in all the knitwear by the end of this one. So I have worn it a couple of times when it's been really, really, really cold. So I just wrap it around. And it just sits really nice in a coat. Like that. I'm going to take it off because I'll overheat else. So that's the Jodie Shawl, and it's a really nice knit. It's just got this, it's mainly like rows of garter, and then you start striping, and then you do a simple lace pattern along the bottom. Again, there are a few mistakes, shall we say. Yeah, and it blocked out quite large, but it's nice. Next defo is these were my Christmas Eve cast on socks. So Danny of the Little Bobbins started a tradition, I don't know, many years ago now, a few years ago, where on Christmas Eve you cast on generally socks, but some people do other stuff as well. So these were my Christmas Eve cast on socks, and this is the Miriam Bright colourway by London House Yarns, and this is her petite, I think she calls it petite feet. So you get 50 gram of the main colour and a 20 gram mini as a contrast. So the mini she sent was this red, and then it's a 5 stripe repeat. So I split the skein into two 25 gram balls, and then did these as a toe up sock. And then the heel is this is West Yorkshire Spinners, and I think it's the bubblegum colourway, and the heel is a German short row heel with mini heel flap adjustment, I think it's called, by Mina Phillip, who is knitting expert. My hair is all doolally now. So you just get this little extra, if you've got like a high instep, you just get this extra little bit of heel. And they have been worn and washed twice, I think, so, but I just love them. I think they're really cool. So that was my Christmas Eve cast on, and I had finished. Why do self-striping socks knit so quickly? I think you're just like, I want to get to the next row, and I want to get to the next colour. And like I say, I started these Christmas Eve, and they were finished by, I think, the 28th or 29th, something like that. So they just knit up really quickly. Yep. So next FO is my first light short. It hasn't been blocked yet because I am trying to declutter the living room, so there's boxes of stuff everywhere. I haven't woven in the ends either, so there's lots of ends. So this is the first light shawl by Vera Valimaki. And the yarns I used, this is Lucius Malfoy by Nora George Yarns, and that was part of her Mrs. Weasley's Knit Club. Which is a monthly club that she does. So it is a club colourway, and I think she said that she's not going to repeat any club colourways, and it's like so it's a pale grey base, and it's got these pops of like bluey lavender, and then yellow for Malfoy's hair, and black because obviously he wore a lot of black. And then what I paired it with is just a blue yarn called Fading Stormy Night by Dye for Yarn, and it's a merino silk. Merino silk mix of yarn. So you'd start off with this short crescent at the top, and then you add in the next colour doing short rows, and then there's a lace section, and then more short row stripes at the bottom. So they start there, short rows, and go. And again, this is quite a big shawl for fingering weight. It's a long crescent shape, so that needs blocking when I get floor space. Oh, hang on, tags in here. So what the dye for yarn is 75% wool, 25% silk, so it'll have a nice drape to it, hopefully. So that's that one. Nearly there with FOs. So finally finished the husband's Batcave Socks. Halle flipping hallelujah. I started these in August and they've been travelling around in my handbag and they've been forgotten about while I've done other stuff, and then Christmas knitting got waylaid. So so colours, this is Stranded Dye Works, the lovely Amy. This is her limoncello colourway as the contrast of cuffs, heels and toes. I don't know what's going on there, stretched it a bit. And then this is her Batcave colourway, and I like how it's sort of micro striped, and then obviously here it's gone a bit, it's pulled a bit where I've got extra stitches while I'm reducing the gusset. So husband's quite excited for these, but I told him he can't wear them until I've recorded my podcast. And these blockers, got little dinosaurs on them, and there's a big dinosaur here, are by Yarnistry. Yarnistry. So, and she has an Etsy shop and Instagram, and she's on Instagram. So he's looking forward to wearing those. Yeah. So I'm glad they're done at long last. And final FO, I received this yarn for Christmas from my friend Trisha. Hi Trisha. And it is Firestone by Hedgehog Fibres, and it's an Aran weight. And as soon as I unwrapped it, I was like, oh, it needs to be a hat. And I wanted to do a cabled hat. So this is the Miriam Hat by Mina Phillip, who is Knitting Expat. So it's got this, and you're supposed to do a folded brim, but I didn't want to do it. I just did a normal brim because I didn't want to do. I do run hot, so I didn't, and I thought a folded brim, I'll be roasting with that on. So, but it fits really well anyway. So you get this large cable section here, and the rib continues in between the cable. So you do a large cable there, and then you've got this other cabled section. Can't see. Which is smaller intertwined cables, and the rib continues in between. I'm just gonna take my hair down a minute. I'll model it for you. So you see it comes down even with the shorter brim. It grew quite a lot when I blocked it actually. I'm not quite sure how to wear it, which bit. So put the large cable at the front, and then I ordered some more Pom Poms. Excuse the rustling. So, and these are the ones again with the popper on the bottom that I showed you before. So you sew this bit onto your hat, and then there's a popper on the bottom of the pom-pom. Trying to find a card, sorry. And this is from Jelly Fabrics, and I found them on Etsy, but there's their details. So I got 2 of these brown ones, which is what I've put on here, and I've got 2 white ones because there will be more hats in my future. given up. I don't care that I look stupid with a hat on. I'll be warm. I'll be warm but stupid looking. So it is a little bit slouchy, which is quite nice. Which means that if I did have my hair up, then... Oh, Lord. Then it'll fit over my bum. Excuse me a second. I don't want to keep my hair down because it doesn't look... So yeah, so there's my pom pom and it just pops off so that I can wash the hat and not have to worry about messing up the pom pom. So those are all my FOs. I did have some more, but I gifted them for Christmas. Yeah, I made my sister a pair of socks, another pair of socks, to go with her Christmas gifts. I can't remember what I showed on the... Hang on. Yeah. Yeah, so I think I've made a few other bits as Christmas gifts, but they've gone. There's probably photos of them on my Instagram, and they will be in my Ravelry projects. Excuse me. So that's all my FOs for the time being. So let's move on to works in progress. There's quite a few of them because I had a little cast on party. Oh, that was proper party. Party. There is a T in there somewhere, not a D. So the first one is my Cayley Sweater, which has grown a bit since you last saw it. So it's got a dipped hem, so the hem is longer at the back. So you start, it's a bottom up jumper. So I've got the pockets in now. Obviously I haven't sewn them or anything like that yet. And then it's got this like faux garter detail, they call it, at the front. And there's a little panel of it on the back. So I'm just working my way up now. I need to get the front up to 17 inches and I think I'm about 14 and a half, 15. I did work on it the other night and I haven't measured since. So yeah, it's an interesting, it's because you do that faux, you have to do that, so you have to purl every so many rounds between these two markers. So there's enough to keep you, and I'm doing side decreases at the moment every so many rounds. So there's enough to, it's not just stockinette, endless stockinette around, you just, and the yarn I'm using is a massive ball of Starcross Special Aran with wool and the Hollyhock colourway. It's not quite as dark as that. It's blowing out a bit on the camera. But you know, for a cheap basic commercial yarn, they come in 400 gram balls, and it's 80% acrylic, 20% wool, and for an everyday workhorse sweater, this was like $9.50 a ball. You can't really go wrong. So it's great because it means I can just bung it in the washing machine. So for an everyday sweater, and because of my girth, shall we say, to buy, you know, indie dyed Aran weight yarn would be a lot of money. So, and that pattern is it's by Julia Farwell Clay, and it was in the 5th anniversary issue of Pom Pom magazine, which was issue 21. Just trying to find a picture. So that's what it will look like eventually. And there's a side view. So that faux detail goes right up. And that's the back. Yeah. So again, it's one of those things that I'd pick up if I want some mindless knitting. Pick up. It's ideal sort of TV knitting. Yeah. So the next one is the first pattern from Mina Phillip. She's coming up quite a lot today, isn't she? Mina Phillip of Knitting Expat. Last year she did the New York sock collection, and this year she's doing 2 different collections. One is the Wanderlust and one is the Cozy something. Can't remember, sorry. So she's doing 2 different clubs this year that are 6 months each, but they alternate. So the Wanderlust I think is the easy, like if you're a complete beginner you could do them quite easily socks, and the other collection is slightly more advanced. But still, if you go to Mina's, if you're interested, excuse me, if you go to Mina's YouTube channel, which is the Knitting Expat podcast, or her Ravelry group, which again is the Knitting Expat podcast group on Ravelry, she has done an introduction video to the 2 clubs, if you want to know more information. And this is the first one. It's called the, how I'm going to pronounce it, which is probably wrong, it's Restfeber sock. It's to do with travelling. It's a Scandinavian word, I think. I don't want to say Swedish because I can't remember if it is Swedish, but it's a Scandinavian word for and it's something to do with travelling. So you get this like travelling pattern down the front. And Mina, she writes her pattern just on the front only, so the back of the sock is plain stockinette, but you can, it's quite easy if you wanted to do it on both sides. So the yarn I'm using is a commercial yarn called Grundle Hot Sock Pearl and Mitt Cashmere. So it is 75% wool, 20% polyamide and 5% cashmere. And it's so soft. It's so soft. And I did box of socks for myself last year. So this year I am doing a box of socks for my sister Sarah for Christmas. So all of these Knitting Expat collection, I'm doing both collections. I signed up for both. Both of them will go in for Sarah's box of socks this year for a Christmas present. So so yeah, the Grundle Hot Socks, and this is the colourway 05, which is like a plum, like a dark plum colour. And then I've just got 01, which is white, for as I thought it'd be a nice contrast. And I got the excuse the scribbled notes, but the pattern's at the top, so I only needed that page printing because the rest of it is pretty much in my head. Like, you know, cuff, heel flap. I just did a standard heel flap, slip stitch heel flap and heel turn. I don't know if you've come across these needles. They're showing up on quite a few podcasts. They are the Crazy Trio by Addy. And it's like a double pointed needle, but it's got this flexi bit in the middle. I think in America they're called flexi flips or something like that. I don't know why they're different names. And I've never used Addy needles before, so I was quite interested. And I do like knitting with double pointed needles, but when I'm doing a pattern sock, I like to use magic loop. I know, weird, but it's just easier than, especially like on double pointed, obviously I use 4 needles to hold my stitches. So if you're doing like a purl as the first stitch on the second needle, you can sometimes end up with an extra stitch or something where you've brought the yarn forward. So magic, if I'm doing a pattern sock, I tend to use magic loop. But I saw these on a few podcasts or whatever. Sorry, I thought my phone was ringing. And I thought I'd give them a try. So they have like a, I don't know if that's going to focus very well, but they've got like a, that's the blunt. So they've got a blunt end one end and a sharper. They're not like higher sharp, but they're pointy enough. So I think that's why they're called flexi flips in America. I can't remember. It did say somewhere where it's got a basic one end, and I assume that's the blunt end, and a lace tip on the other end. So it comes as a set of 3. So you have 2 with your working, that your live stitches are on, and then you just use the 3rd one. They did take a bit of getting used to, but what I do is I fold that one up so it sort of sits in the crook of my thumb, and then you just knit as normal. You would if you were looking at what you were doing. So you just knit as you normally would. It's not very easy to see because, so yeah, I'm really enjoying them actually. They arrived, I'm just going to unpick because I haven't done the pattern correctly, so I'm just going to unpick these stitches that I've done. A minute, hang on. Sorry, talk amongst yourselves. Okay. They arrived, I did the leg up to the heel flap magic loop, and then these arrived, so I did the heel flap and turn and everything. So from there forwards I've used these, and I've really enjoyed them. They're really quick because you haven't got that with magic loop where you have to push they're very similar to DPNs where you can just go round and round and round. Obviously you do have to push the stitches onto the needle, but it's not as time consuming as feeding it all around with magic loop. I would say if you're a die-hard magic looper, I don't think they would be for you, but if you use DPNs and you're used to sort of manoeuvring needles, then I think they're definitely worth a try. And I got mine on Amazon. They came from Germany, but I did get mine on Amazon because everywhere in the UK was out of stock. But yeah, I am enjoying the needles. So I'm hoping that to get that first sock finished, I'm going to work on it today and get that first sock finished today, and then because I want them done by the end of the month. But we'll talk more about planning at the end. So next work in progress is I started another shawl. Yeah, this is the Colourfield shawl by Kemper Ray, who is Raybot on Ravelry. So this is what it looks like when it's finished. And so again, it's a DK weight shawl. I haven't got very much done because I've been trying to get other stuff finished, like those socks, and I've got some mitts that I need to get finished. So the yarns I am using are by a company called Unbeliever Wool. And there's her tag with her information on. And the main colour is her budgie colourway. And it does look like a budgie, doesn't it? And it's on her DK base. It's 80% superwash merino, 10% nylon, 10% cashmere. And it's 212 metres per 100 grams. And then as contrast, I got this one. We can see the sparkle really well. And this is just named black. But it's more like a navy blue than black. I think. Yeah, I feel it's more like a navy blue. And I was lucky to get these in her sale just after Christmas. It's 75%, again it's DK base, 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% sparkle. So, because we all need a little bit of sparkle, but you need, I'm doing the larger version, so you need 2 of these. 2 of the main colour and 1 of your contrast. And I'm knitting them on higher sharps, 5mm. And these stitch stoppers are again from Yarnistry. I should have mentioned that earlier. So this one's on a bit of a back burner at the moment while I get other things finished. Right. If you recall, I made these Bonbon Knits by Hohi Locatelli for my sister for Christmas. And when my niece Holly saw them, she was like, "Oh, I like them." And again, this is from the 5th anniversary issue of Pom Pom Quarterly. So she was like, "Auntie Luce, can you make me a pair of the same mitts that you made Mum?" But she wanted them in baby blue, and I wanted, because she's got a new baby, obviously things need to be able to be washed easily. So I went for Sublime Yarn Baby Cashmere Merino Silk in a DK weight, and she wanted it in baby blue, so it's blowing out a bit there. And last night I finished the first mitt apart from the thumb. So I'll tell you what, you know you love somebody when you have to do a whole mitt in twisted rib for them. When she said, "Can you make me something?" Oh, I've got the twisted rib again. But it does give a nice effect. So I'm hoping that it'll block, once they're blocked, this lace pattern will be. So you do twisted rib, cuff, and then there's a lace section on the front. And then obviously you keep the twisted rib going up the back. Something went a bit doolally there, but it doesn't matter. So that's the first one. I've just got to do the thumb of that one and then get the second one done. So that's why the colour filled shawl is on the back burner, to get that finished, ready for Holly. So final whip that I've got at the moment that I've been actively working on is, I had quite a bit, because the Advent minis were 20 grams, so there was quite a lot left over. So I thought, what can I do? So I jumped on the bandwagon, because hey, if there's a bandwagon I want to be on it, and started a Cozy Memories blanket with the yarn. But once I've finished the squares, there's still a hell of a lot of yarn left over, so I think there may be scrappy socks in my future. So I'm just doing 48 stitch squares with a knit 2 together SSK decrease in the middle. I'm not quite sure why they're all coming out different sizes, but I'm sure that'll all come out in the wash. That one, that's the first one, and that was quite small, but I did start it using 3.75 needles, and I did the first few squares with the higher sharps, And then I found these magic loop and it was driving me nuts, and I was like, no, I'm never going to finish this. So after watching a few other podcasts where people have said that they like the short signature needles, but obviously in the UK we can't, to get them out, they're just, the postage and customs would be mental, so it's just not worth it. I did a little bit digging around and found these. They are Knit Pro Nova and they're 15 centimetre straights. So I ordered the 3.75, and when they came, and I knit 3 more squares I think when they came, they were like really massive compared to the ones I've done on the higher sharps. And I tested them on a needle gauge, and they were 3.75 mil, but I don't know why. So it just goes to show that when you do swatch, you do need to swatch with the needles that you're going to be using, because they do make a difference. So I wasn't happy, so I ripped it all out and I ordered some. These are 3.25 millimeter, and they're just 15 mil, and they make such a difference when knitting the squares. I'm actually enjoying knitting with them now. So at the moment, because it's only small, this is the knitting that I take when I visit my dad in the care home. So I'm going to do obviously the 24 squares that are Advent. I've got last year's Nora George Advent calendar that's still in its packet. So this is going to be a Nora George Cozy Memories blanket. I don't know how big it will get, but I do have quite a lot of Nora George in my stash. So I've got day 6 ready to go. So I need to catch up with that. So I think that's going to replace my morning Advent knitting, and I'll knit a square. I'll try and get a square knit every day. Try. So hopefully when you come back, when I record, hopefully in a couple of weeks, I'll have a lot more squares on there to show you. So that's it for works in progress. I'm just going to take a quick comfort break. So I've had a lot of tea and I need a wee. And then we'll come back with stash enhancement, and I want to talk about planning and tracking. Yeah, planning and tracking, I think we'll call it. Okay, so I'll see you in a second. Bye. Okay, and we're back. Sorry, I've got itchy eyeball. No. I was going to be good and go on a yarn diet, but if we're being honest, it's never going to happen. I have cut down and I have been very selective on what I have bought. But some of this I did order before Christmas. Oh, sorry, my phone's ringing. It's my sister. It might be about my dad. Be right back. Sorry about that. Just getting an update on how my dad was. Okay, where were we? Stash enhancement. Yeah, talking about yarn diet. So I did have every good intention, and I have cut down on what I use, you know, how mad I usually go. Because, you know, I have to face it that I have got yarn that I'm probably haven't got enough years left in my life to knit, but who knows? I could live, there could be some magical scientific breakthrough and I could live to 300, but there you go. So anyway, I have got a little bit of stash. It's not very much, just a little bit. And a lot of it was ordered before New Year when the yarn diet was supposed to start. But the first one is this, which was when you ordered your advent calendar from Nora George, you could either just get the 24 days or order and get the 24 days plus a full skein for Christmas Day. So had to be done. So this is called We Can Build a Snowman. So it's this like blush pink, and there's like some pale blue, and then speckles, and some orange speckles, obviously for a snowman's nose, black for his coal, and then so it's lovely like muted pale It is blowing out a bit there, but so that was the Christmas Day skein that we got, and then Mrs. Weasley's Sock Club. I must have shown you the other one. This is Bellatrix Lestrange, which was round 6.3. So it used to be a quarterly club, but she's changed it to a monthly club now. And you can sign up to get it on prescription each month. Because it is like a prescription, isn't it? It's like a feel happy pill when this yarn arrives on your doorstep. So it's like a really lovely purples and blues and black. Lots of speckles. It's a bit Nora George heavy, this one, and this is Winter Wonderland. Look at the speckles. Which is in one of our recent shop updates, and then last week's shop update, I fell in love with this as soon as I saw it. This is Lucy's Jam in a skein of yarn. So this is called Peony Blush. Oh, it's lovely pale pink. Not that I haven't got any pink yarn in my stash, where most of it's pink or mint green speckles. And then this is Life's a Jolly Holiday with Mary, which is from Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins. That was my bad impression of Dick Van Dyke then. Because you can't say Mary Poppins without saying Mary Poppins. So it's a very sort of pale yellow with... Oh, look at this speckle. With pops of pink and yellow and green. So it's really pretty. Mary Poppins is one of my favourite films. So when I saw that she was doing Mary Poppins, I signed up for Felt Fusion's... Oh, I don't realize it was in there. Sorry, I just found a stitch marker that I didn't know was there. Felt Fusion's Harry Potter Club, and this is the Quirrell colourway, and it is 75% fine merino and 25% mulberry silk, 4-ply, 400 metres per 100 grams. So that would make a nice cowl or hat or something. Might make a nice sock head hat actually. That's silk in it as well. And a stitch marker. Sorry, glare. And there was some... You get a... Words. Gift is the word I'm looking for in there as well. And there was some Bertie Bott's every flavour beans. So, but I've eaten them. So, or I ate most of them except the earwax and vomit flavour. And it did taste like vom too. And I saw this knitted up on, I think it was Amy's podcast, Stranded Dye Works podcast. It's Nicole C. Mendez, who's based in Germany, and this is her Little Red Riding Hood self-striping yarn. It's looking quite muted on there, but it is actually quite bright in real life. And then I also got, when I ordered the Grundle Hot Socks, I ordered them from Suffolk Socks, based here in the UK. Oh, there you go, look. There's her name. Suffolk, as in the county Suffolk Socks. And she's bringing out some patterns, so I am testing it in some socks for her. I did test knit for her before Christmas, the Behind the Bike Shed socks, which I gifted to Sarah for Christmas. So I ordered the plum, but didn't realise that she had them, because they're 50-gram balls. I didn't realise it was listed as 100 grams, so you got 2 balls. So I ordered 2 lots thinking it was 2 50-gram balls, but it wasn't. It was 2 lots of 100 grams, because I can't read, obviously. So the lady whose name really escaped, Julie. Sorry, Julie, if you're watching and it wasn't you, and that's not your real name. She messaged me to say, do you realise that you've ordered 200 grams of the same colour? I was like, no. So I said, can I have the 2 balls of, so I swapped it to the white that I'm using as the contrast. So I've got 2 balls of white. And she also popped these in as a little gift for test knitting for her. So this is colourway 16, which is like a baby pink, and this is 12, which is like a baby blue colour, which is really pretty. And then last but not least, I participated in Opera Joe, who is Stitching the High Notes, and Gabby Gales, who is Once Upon a Corgi. They collaborated last autumn to do their pumpkin knit along. Or make along, should I say. It was their second year of doing it, so it was anything pumpkin related. So I entered my Madewell cardigan because it was orange and green speckles in it, so it was very pumpkin coloured. So I entered my Madewell, and I was lucky enough to be a winner, one of the winners. So I received this gorgeous skein of Wild Happy Colour yarn, which has got my hair hanging off it because hair gets everywhere, and it's in the Exotic Beauty colourway, and it's her authentic base, which is 80/20 superwash merino nylon, 400 yards per 100 grams, 2-ply. So it's quite a, you can see the twist in it. It's blowing out a little bit in there. Oh, that's a bit better. So it's like a gorgeous, like tan orange speckles with bits of black and brown and stuff in them. Oh, there goes. And yellow. So I'm not quite, I think it'll probably end up being socks, but I'm not sure. It might end up in a shawl. So that's it for stash enhancement. Oh, I got another one, but this was a swap I did with the lovely Imogen. Hi, Imogen. I had a skein of eraser from Amy at Stranded Dye Works that I didn't know what I was going to do with, and Imogen needed one for her penguono, so we did a swap. So I swapped this for this skein of a Homespun House, which is Mermaid of the Black Lake, and it's BFL nylon, 75% BFL, 25% nylon, 400 meters per 100 grams, and it's like a pale pink base with then obviously all these splodges of purple and speckles, and well, it's a Harry Potter reference, Mermaid of the Black Lake. So that's it for stash enhancement, but I did want to talk about planning and goals, and I don't do New Year's resolutions because I don't see the point, because I don't stick with them. So, but I did set some goals last year, knitting related goals. Just trying to find my bit of paper, and I wrote them down and I stuck them on my wall. So my 2017 goals, well, they were craft goals really more than. So the first one was knit from stash. Well, it sort of happened, but it didn't. Second one was knit 18 pairs of socks, and I managed to knit 29 pairs in total. Third one was knit 3 cardigans or sweaters, and I did that because I did my breathing space, I knit my flare, and I knit the Madewell cardigan. So they were all fingering weight. Learn continental knitting. No, I bought a craftsy class and I've watched like 10 minutes of it. So I really need to, that's one thing that I do want to do this year. Fifth one was learn brioche. And I did do that. I did learn brioche. I went on a class and I learned brioche. And I have done brioche since. And the final one was sew 6 garments, because my aim is to have a handmade wardrobe. And I did 5 out of 6, so that's not too bad. I did a lazy daisy top, a willow tank dress, my sheep tunic, which was the Dotty Angel tunic with I did it in a sheep fabric that I wore to Pom Fest. I did the Matilde top, which I think is talked about on either my first or second podcast. And then I did a skirt in the same sheep fabric that I did my tunic out of for Pom Fest for when I went to Nottingham Yarn Expo. So I didn't do too bad on last year's goals. And so, like, how do you know what goal, so I have this planner. It's from a company called Personal Planner, and you can pretty much get whatever layout you want. They do like A5 upright and A6 and all different sizes. So this year I went for one that was this layout. And what I do with this is so at the end of every day, I fill in what I've worked on that day. So on Monday, I worked on the Miriam Hat and I worked on the Bambang Knits. And I finished the cuff and the gusset section. So I just write down at the end of every day and then finish the Miriam Hat on Tuesday. And then when I start a new project, so you can see here, I started the Bambang Knits. I write what yarn I've used, what needles I've used, and, you know, however far I got on that day. And then for this year, I didn't do it last year, I did it on a spreadsheet on my computer. So I'm keeping an eye on, see there, look, too ill to knit, I was poorly. So I write down what yarn comes in and what yarn goes out. And then the following week I do like a brought forward. So that week I had nothing to come in. So that's a good week. So I'm in negative equity already because I've had 10, 11, 12, 13 in and I've used 4. So, and then when I finish a project, so this is last year's, all the projects that I did in last year, or a majority of the projects I did last year. I didn't write everything down. So I write down what I finished, what meter, and then I keep a tally, an ongoing tally of how much I've knit in that year. So last year, at the end of 2017, I had completed 63 projects, either knit or crochet. I knit or crocheted 22,048 meters of yarn. That's a lot of yarn. I did 28 pairs of socks, 12 shawls, 3 jumpers or cardigans, and 20 other items, so like mitts or crochet toys, mandalas, that sort of thing. And I bought 185 skeins of yarn and I used 63 skeins of yarn, so still a bit of negative equity for that last year as well. So so that's how I sort of keep a track of what I'm doing. And then this year I got this for Christmas from my sister. So this has got my 2018 goals in it, and so they are at the moment, I might add to these, so knit from stash, make 24 pairs of socks, knit 6 sweaters and make 8 garments. So we shall see. We shall see. And I'm keeping a note of knit alongs as well in this book, so I can enter different things into different knit-alongs. So yeah, that's this year's planning and goals. So hopefully we'll be able to stick with those, get to somewhere with those goals this year. So I'll keep you updated as we go along. Husband's just come in, so it's put me off track, bear with me. So the final thing is events. Next event that I will be attending is Unravel, and I am going on the Saturday. Unravel is in Farnham. I'm just going to pull up my calendar, bear with me. It is Saturday the 17th of February. The event is from Friday the 16th to Sunday the 18th. But I'm just going on the Saturday. I've booked my train. I'm going to go up and back on the same day. And I've booked my ticket. And we're going to meet. I'm going to meet the girls. So, hi, Imogen, Sophie and Sarah. So we're all going to meet up and have a mooch around and probably buy some yarn. Because it'd be rude not to. So hopefully I'll see some of you there. So if you do see me, stop and say hello. That's it. Can't think of anything else to say. So hopefully I'll be back in a couple of weeks. Thank you for sticking with me today. Hope it wasn't too rambly, and I feel I'm getting in the flow now of talking to myself. So thank you for watching. Happy knitting, happy crochet, happy woolly things. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.